Welcome to Legs Like Mine, the podcast, where we explore lipedema through the eyes of a patient, break down the latest research, and share real life stories of living with this often misunderstood condition. I'm Susan O'Hara from legslikemine.com. I'm a lipedema patient, author, and advocate, and I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're newly diagnosed or deep into your journey, this podcast is for you. Hey friends, Susan here, and today we're diving into something incredibly important and a little bit hopeful: clinical trials for lipedema. But what is lipedema? Before we jump into the research, let's take a step back. If you're new here, welcome, or just beginning to explore what's been happening in your body, let me start with a quick explanation. Lipedema is a chronic condition that causes an abnormal buildup of fat, typically in the hips, buttocks, legs, and sometimes arms. It mostly affects women and is often mistaken for simple obesity or lymphedema. But unlike general weight gain, lipedema fat is painful, resistant to diet and exercise, and symmetrical, meaning both legs or arms are affected equally. It's estimated that up to 11% of women might have lipedema, and yet so many of us go years or even decades without a diagnosis. It can lead to reduced mobility, significant pain, and major mental health challenges. That's why research matters, and why today we're talking about clinical trials. Clinical trials are how new treatments are tested to see if they work and if they're safe. For conditions like lipedema, where there's no cure and very few proven treatments, clinical trials are how we push medicine forward. They're how we go from "we don't know" to "here's what helps." So let's talk about a few current trials that are giving us hope. The first one is called Vasculera for lipedema. This exploratory study is looking at a drug called Vasculera, which is usually used to support vascular health. Researchers want to know, can this drug help with the symptoms of lipedema? They're measuring things like leg circumference, pain levels, and quality of life. It's a small study, but it's exciting because it's one of the few that looks at a non-surgical treatment. The second study is called RZL-012 injections for lipedema and Derkham's disease. This is a phase 2 trial, meaning it's in the mid stages of research. The drug being tested is RZL-012, and it's being injected into fatty tissues to see if it can reduce the fat and pain associated with lipedema and Derkham's disease, which also causes painful fat deposits. What's unique is that they're using imaging and ultrasound to measure actual tissue change. If this works, it could become a new minimally invasive treatment option. And the third study I want to highlight is RZL-012 in Derkham's disease, and this is a placebo-controlled study. This trial is similar to the last one, but more focused. It's testing different doses of RZL-012 in people with Derkham's disease to see which dose is most effective. Since lipedema and Derkham's can sometimes overlap, especially in their pain and fat presentation, this could also give us useful insights. If you're wondering how to get involved in clinical trials or just want to keep tabs on what's happening like me, I recommend visiting a website called clinicaltrials.gov. Here's how. Go to clinicaltrials.gov. In the search bar, type the word lipedema, Lipedema. You'll see a list of all trials that are recruiting, active, or completed. Click on each one to learn more about the study, who's eligible, where it's happening, and how to reach the study coordinators. Also, here's a little pro tip. You can also filter by recruiting to only see trials that are actively looking for participants right now. So, why does this matter to us? I know clinical trials can sound intimidating, especially if you're already dealing with pain, medical gaslighting, and exhaustion. But here's the thing: these trials exist because people like you spoke up. We need real world solutions, and the only way to get there is through research. You don't have to join a trial, but even just being aware of what's being studied helps you become a more informed and empowered patient. And who knows, the treatment that works for you might come out of one of these very trials. There's still a long road ahead in understanding and treating lipedema, but every study brings us closer. I'll keep checking on these trials and sharing what I find in future episodes. If there's a specific treatment or a study you want to know more about, drop me a message or an email. I'd love to dig into this stuff with you. Thank you for listening to Legs Like Mine, the podcast. If you found this helpful, please share it with a friend or a fellow patient. The more we raise our voices, the closer we get to real change. Until next time, take care of your legs, take care of yourself. If this episode spoke to you, or if you've ever felt unheard on your lipedema journey, please know this: you are not alone. We're in this together, and we're not stopping here. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening. I'm Susan O'Hara from legslikemine.com. Be kind to yourself and keep going.